You know that feeling, right? Like the key to finally changing things, overcoming some um, persistent struggle, finding peace, maybe even achieving that success you're chasing. It feels just out of reach sometimes.
Mm. And we often look outside ourselves for the answer, don't we?
Exactly. We're looking outward. But what if the answer isn't out there at all?
What if it's entirely within?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty much the radical idea at the heart of the text we're diving into today.
Right. We're cracking open James Allen's classic From Poverty to Power. This was written, what, back in the early 1900s?
Yeah, way ahead of his time, long before self-help was even really a thing, a genre.
He really did blaze a trail, basically saying, hey, forget trying to change your circumstances first. Let's look inward for the real power to transform your life.
So our mission today, looking at these source excerpts you shared, they cover everything from what Allen terms evil to health, happiness, power, peace. It's really to pull out the core principles.
Okay. What did Allen believe was the fundamental path? How do we get from, difficulty and adversity to a genuinely better, more flourishing life, according to him?
Well, let's jump straight into what feels like the absolute bedrock of his whole philosophy, this central idea. Your outer world is a direct reflection, like a mirror, of your inner state.
He really hammers this point home, doesn't he? The world you experience, the reality you perceive, it's fundamentally shaped by your thoughts, your desires, your aspirations.
Yeah, he even draws on ancient wisdom. He quotes the Buddha. All that we are is the result of what we have thought. It is founded on our thoughts. It is made up of our thoughts.
So simple idea, but profound implications. If you're feeling happy, it's because you're dwelling in happy thoughts.
And miserable, because you're dwelling in miserable thoughts. That internal landscape, it just colors everything you see outside.
It does make you wonder, though, what about circumstances? Real-world stuff, don't they affect us?
Allen's clear on this. He says circumstances only affect you to the degree you let them. It's your thought sphere, he calls it.
Your thought sphere? Like your mental atmosphere?
Kind of, yeah, your predominant mental state. That's what wraps around and filters everything external, coloring it with gloom or gladness, fear or hope.
Okay.
There's a great little story in the source material that really captures this perfectly. You've got this enthusiastic naturalist and a simple plowman.
Right, and they're looking at the exact same thing, just an ordinary pool of brackish water by a farm.
And the naturalist is just buzzing, right? Sees 100, a million universes in there, wants to get his microscope out immediately.
Well, the plowman, he just sort of looks at it.
Ponderously, yeah, and says, I know the water be full of tadpoles, but they be easy to catch.
Right. Same water, totally different reality experienced. One sees endless discovery, the other sees, well, bait.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Your inner perspective, your internal focus, it dictates what you see and how you interact with the very same external world.
And it's not just about perception, is it? He argues you actually attract things based on your thoughts.
By the law of cause and effect in the mental realm, you attract what you send out. You end up connecting with people who resonate with your inner state.
Yeah.
That old saying, birds of a feather flock together.
He says it has a deeper meaning here.
Much deeper, yeah. Seen through this lens of thought.
So the core message here is huge. Your world is a reflex of you. You're not just passively experiencing life.
No, you're actively, maybe unconsciously, but actively creating your life, your world, your whole universe, really, from the inside out, with the power of thought.
Okay, so if our inner state creates our outer reality, what about the tough stuff? The suffering, the pain, the adversity we all face?
Right. Allen has a very specific, and maybe for some, a challenging view on what he calls evil. He doesn't see it as some big, external, all-powerful force.
No, he calls it a passing phase of human experience, something rooted in our own ignorance.
Exactly, ignorance.
Yeah.
A lack of understanding about the true nature of things, the way things really work.
He uses that analogy of the child and the candle, doesn't he?
Yeah, it's simple but effective. The child doesn't know fire burns. They touch the candle, feel the pain.
And learn a fundamental lesson quickly.
They suffered because of ignorance. And Allen says we as adults experience something similar, just maybe more complex. Our suffering often comes from grasping at things, clinging to things, because of a deeper ignorance about what truly nourishes us versus what harms us.
So the purpose, then, of all this evil, this suffering, it's corrective, it's remedial.
It's a teacher. That's how he frames it. It's meant to guide us towards higher wisdom. And it only sticks around in our lives when we refuse to learn the lesson it's trying to teach.
He uses that shadow analogy, too. Darkness isn't a force, it's just an absence of light.
Right, when something blocks the light. Similarly, he says evil is this insignificant shadow. cast by the self, the ego, maybe getting in the way of the light of what he calls the supreme good, which he believes floods the universe.
So if you refuse to learn, you just stay in the shadow.
You stay in the shadow, experiencing recurring issues, disease, disappointment, sorrow, the same patterns repeating.
But if you're willing to engage, to look inward.
If you're willing to engage with that disciplinary process through earnest self-examination, he says you start to see that the evil, the suffering, it's actually a self-created shadow.
Those pains and misfortunes, they aren't random.
He believes they come by a perfect law, because in a cosmic sense, you deserve and require them, not like a punishment from an angry God.
More like necessary experiences.
Exactly. Necessary experiences to forge you into someone stronger, wiser, nobler. That's a tough pill to swallow for some, isn't it? That your struggles might actually be for you, not against you.
It really flips the script completely.
It does, and it leads directly to his path out of those unwanted conditions. If the outer world reflects the inner, and suffering comes from inner ignorance,
And then the way out has to be inward.
precisely, his core instruction is stark, almost brutally simple. If thou wouldst right the world, then right thyself.
Or if you want to fix the world's problems, fix yourself first.
Yep. Purify and build your inner world.
And this is where he really empowers the listener, you. He says you are the architect of your destiny, not by manipulating stuff outside.
But by shaping and molding your own mind. Through self-discipline, you discover what he calls the magic potency of a self-governed soul. This incredible inner power, far greater than any external limitation.
He gives some really practical, almost surprising examples of this. Like if you feel stuck, chained by circumstances, wanting better opportunities,
What does he say to do?
he says be faithful with what you already have. He brings in that idea from the parable of the talents. If you misuse or neglect the little you have.
You won't be given more.
Right.
Yeah.
And his example of the small cottage is so vivid.
Oh yeah, tell us that one.
If you live in a humble place but dream of a mansion, don't hate the cottage. Instead, make it as beautiful as possible right now. Keep it clean, make it sweet, arrange your simple food nicely.
And he says something about carpeting the rooms with smiles.
Yes. Carpet your rooms with smiles and welcomes, fastened down with the nails of kind words, driven in with the hammer of patience.
Wow. I love that imagery.
It's fantastic, isn't it? It's not about pretending things are perfect. It's about applying effort, care, beauty where you are.
And by ennobling your present situation with your inner qualities.
You actually rise above the need for those external things, and you fit yourself for the better situation when it's ready to arrive.
It's the same principle for feeling overworked and wanting more time.
Exactly. Use the little spare time you have now. Wasting small amounts just breeds laziness. More time wouldn't help. You'd just waste more.
He's really reframing the challenges themselves. Poverty, lack of time, they aren't inherently bad.
They only hinder you if you clothe them in your own weaknesses, he says. But they can be transformed into blessings.
How so?
Poverty can build patience, hope, courage. Lack of time can force you to be prompt, decisive. He uses the image of the rankest soil growing the most beautiful flowers.
So difficulties can actually be fertile ground for virtue.
That's the idea. Even a difficult boss, a tyrannical employer, he suggests seeing it as training.
Instead of reacting.
Respond with gentleness, forgiveness. Practice patience, self-control. Use the disadvantage to build inner strength. Your quiet example might even help them, he suggests, and you'll naturally move on when you're ready.
But there's one thing you absolutely have to ditch.
Oh, yeah. Self-pity. He calls it degrading, debasing, soul-destroying. Cast it out.
And instead of blaming others,
Turn the spotlight inward. Condemn yourself, but he means stop condoning thoughts, desires, actions within yourself that don't align with purity and goodness. This inner work builds your house on the rock of the eternal.
he's very direct about this, isn't he? There's positively no way to permanently rise above poverty or any bad situation.
Without cleaning up the selfish and negative conditions within, the outside is just the reflection.
So true riches, for Alan, it's not money.
No, it's enriching your soul by acquiring virtue. Money without virtue. It's temporary, stressful. He echoes that ancient idea that the wicked might look prosperous, but it feels painful until you understand the real sanctuary within.
And what about wanting wealth only to do good? That sounds noble.
Alan says, examine that motive really closely. It can come if that's the genuine reason, if you truly see yourself as a steward, not an owner.
But often,
Often, he suspects, that desire is really a hidden craving for popularity or influence. His challenge is, can you do good now, where you are with what little you have, by sacrificing yourself? He mentions the widow's mite.
The value wasn't the amount, but the sacrifice behind it.
Exactly. It always comes back to that inner-outer link. Prosperity and power flow from inner goodness.
Poverty and weakness from inner. Well, evil, as he puts it.
Clean up your heart, your life follows. Lust, hatred, anger, vanity, those are poverty and weakness states.
Love, purity, gentleness, those are wealth and power states.
Conquering your inner weaknesses is how you evolve true power. He claims the person established in the highest virtue literally brings the world to their feet.
Okay, let's shift gears slightly. Another huge tool Alan focuses on is the silent power of thought.
Right. He argues the most powerful forces in the universe are silent, and thought forces, they're the most powerful of all, capable of salvation or destruction.
And our main task as humans is the complete mastery. Maybe subjugation sounds harsh, but mastery of these thought forces.
Wisdom is self-mastery, basically.
And loving your enemies. That's not just a moral idea for him. It's a practical way to master and transform those reactive, selfish mind forces we're usually run by.
He even looks at history, like the Hebrew prophets.
Yeah, connecting national events, disaster, or success directly to the inner thoughts and desires of the people. For Alan, that was real wisdom, real power. Wars, he says, are the crowning horror of national selfishness.
Wow. And thought itself is the creative force.
Fundamentally, the universe grew out of thought. Matter is just objectivized thought. Everything humans accomplish was first thought out, conceived before it became real.
He lists those common negative thought states: fear, worry, anxiety, doubt.
Trouble, chagrin, disappointment.
Yeah.
He says they come directly from selfishness and a basic lack of faith in an underlying good or justice. He calls living in these states practical atheism.
Not necessarily religious atheism, but...
No, more like a practical denial of belief in an omnipotent good. It's like living as if there's no underlying positive force or law.
And dwelling in fear or worry. He says it's as damaging as cursing.
In its effect on your state, yeah. It weakens you. It sabotages positive action by canceling out positive thought forces.
So how do we overcome this? It's not just positive thinking affirmations, is it?
No, not just mental denial or affirmations alone. He stresses daily practice, a relentless effort to rise above and truly understand the nature of negativity, and to actively enter into and comprehend goodness through consistent effort.
Self-control seems key here.
Paramount. Consciously practicing self-control is the way to understand your inner thought forces and learn to direct them. Master your internal mental forces, he says, and you will master your external circumstances.
You think about someone where everything just seems to fall apart for them.
Alan would say they're living in conditions that reflect an internal negation of power. They're stuck in doubt, fear, anxiety internally.
He gives that really practical technique for dealing with big problems, doesn't he? The businessman example.
Yeah, when anxiety hits hard, the first step isn't to tackle the problem. It's to cultivate calmness. Find a quiet spot.
And intentionally direct your mind away from the anxiety. Focus on something peaceful, something you love.
That's the key, isn't it? Forcibly directing the mind. He says the calm strength will start to creep in. The anxiety lifts for a bit.
And when the worry pulls you back,
Gently but firmly bring the mind back to peace, again and again.
then, only then, from that calm state,
You concentrate your mind on the difficulty and what seemed impossible when you were anxious.
becomes clear, manageable.
Right. He calls it the hour of calmness, the hour of clear judgment, of illumination. Learn to trust the vision you get in calmness, not the distorted shadows seen through anxiety. Persistence here, he says, leads to accomplishment.
So this mental discipline is like focusing scattered light into a laser beam.
A searchlight, yeah. He claims no difficulty can withstand that calm, powerful concentration. Any legitimate goal can be achieved by directing your inner soul forces.
He suggests we can't even grasp the real power of thought until we've done some of this inner work, overcome some internal enemies.
Right. Its subtle connection to the outer world, its magical potency in transforming life. You only get it through practice.
Every thought is like sending out a force.
Yeah, it finds receptive minds, and importantly, it reacts back on you. Selfish, negative thoughts, they're like little packets of malignancy, increasing negativity elsewhere and returning amplified.
And being constantly tossed around by your moods.
It means you're dependent on others, on external things, to feel okay. To walk firmly through life, you have to learn to rise above and control those mental and emotional waves.
He strongly recommends that daily practice of going into the silence.
Intentionally resting the mind. It's not just being quiet. It's actively replacing troubled thoughts with peace, weakness with strength.
Gathering scattered energy, like draining a swamp to make fertile land.
Exactly. And as you gain mastery over impulses and thoughts, this new silent power emerges. Composure, inner strength, latent abilities surface.
Your efforts become confident. They command success. He even talks about intuition awakening.
An interior illumination, guiding you with certainty, increased judgment, penetration, even sensing future events.
And as you change inside, the outside changes too, even how people treat you.
That's what he claims. You transform within, your whole outlook shifts, and surprisingly, others' attitudes and behaviors towards you start to change. By rising above negativity internally, you connect with positive currents, attract stronger, purer minds.
Your happiness deepens. It's not just fleeting.
You realize the deep joy and power of self-mastery. And this inner radiance attracts positive influences, positive circumstances. Your outer world literally starts reshaping itself to match your altered thought world.
That old saying, a man's foes or they have his own household.
He applies it internally. Your desires, your thoughts. That's the household you must govern wisely.
He sums it up so concisely. Evil is the thought that thinks it. Good, the thought that makes it so. Everything grows from thinking.
And that verse is powerful. Dwell in thought upon the grandest, and the grandest you shall see. Fix your mind upon the highest, and the highest you shall be.
Okay, this flows right into his secret of health, success, and power.
Right, and the foundation for these. It's not external stuff, not even just hard work alone.
It's unwavering faith and uncompromising purity within. He says where those are present, disease, failure, disaster, they just have nothing to feed on.
He was really strong on the mind-body connection. Physical conditions largely determined by mental states. He saw that old materialistic view fading.
Replaced by understanding that man is superior to his body and shapes it with thought power.
Which leads to his view on sickness. It's not random, not an arbitrary test.
He sees it as a result of our own internal error, or sin, meaning those states like anger, worry, jealousy, greed.
Those states make you receptive to disease. He calls them dangerous. Far more dangerous than a bad drain.
Wow. So his prescription for health is almost shockingly simple.
Put your mind in order. That's it.
Pretty much. Cultivate joyful, loving thoughts. Let goodwill flow. You need no other medicine, he claims. Put away the jealousies, worries, hatreds, indulgences.
And the physical ailments will follow. Put them away too.
It's a bold claim. He tells that story about the man with the painful disease.
Oh yeah, the dream. Where doctors failed, but he dreamt of plunging into water with the word renounce above it.
Right. He woke up, knew it meant renouncing some sinful indulgence he was clinging to, did it, and was healed.
It's a powerful illustration of his point, even if it sounds extreme to modern ears.
He also mentions work. Breakdowns aren't usually from overwork itself,
but from wasted energy on anxiety, excitement, worry. Work without friction with calm persistence.
True health and true success, he says, they go together. They're intertwined in the thought realm.
Mental harmony leads to bodily health and harmonious, effective plans. Order your thoughts. Order your life.
And at the absolute heart of any lasting achievement, faith.
Faith in what?
Faith in the supreme, in the law, in your work, and crucially in your own power to accomplish. That's the rock.
Living faith for him means following your highest inner guidance, trusting that inner light, pursuing your purpose fearlessly but calmly.
Knowing that the laws work, that results will return with mathematical exactitude. This faith, he says, divides the waters of uncertainty and crumbles mountains of difficulty.
He calls it a priceless possession, doesn't he? The talisman of happiness, success, peace, power.
Building on faith is building on the eternal. It lasts longer than material riches. It's your refuge, good times and bad.
He quotes that verse too. If you have faith and doubt not, say unto this mountain, be thou removed, it shall be done. He believed people were living this, moving their own inner mountains of sorrow and pain.
And with this faith, you don't need to worry about results.
No. You work joyfully, peacefully, knowing right thoughts and efforts must bring right results. It's law.
Like that story of the fortunate lady, people thought she was just lucky.
But it wasn't wishing, was it? It was living. She worked within, building this fair temple of light in her heart with faith, hope, joy, devotion, love.
And that inner radiance is what attracted the blessings.
Yeah.
It emphasizes his point. Success, failure, influence, it's all carried inside you.
Your dominant thoughts become your destiny. Send out love, get blessings back, send out hate.
Get curses back. You are the unconditional maker of your fate, he states bluntly.
And cultivating unselfishness is key to influence and success.
Absolutely. A large, loving, unselfish heart leads to great, lasting impact, even with no money. Self-interest shrinks your world. Combine purity, unselfishness, and single-minded purpose.
And you get health, success, greatness, power.
What if you hate your job right now?
Do it diligently anyway. Use the time to mentally prepare for better. Keep your eyes open. When opportunity aligns with your inner readiness, take it.
Master the small tasks faultlessly. It leads to larger ones. Rise by steady climbing, he says, and you will never fall. That's a secret of power.
He also talks about conserving energy, right? Not wasting it on.
Frivolity, gossip, selfish arguments. Power comes from husbanding that inner resource, concentrating it.
And true overcoming power comes from poise. Passivity.
Yeah, the ability to stand alone, to just be. Power is stable, like a mountain or an oak, not shifting sand.
He who commands himself commands others.
Exactly. Passion, in this context, isn't power. It's the waste of power, like a storm.
Power is the rock. Silent, unmoved.
He gives those historical examples, Luther, Disraeli, others facing adversity.
Their power came from deep internal conviction, that quiet resolve.
And you get this power through practice, starting small, conquering purposeless trivialities.
Like what? Boisterous laughter, slander, idle talk.
Joking just for a laugh. He points to St. Paul warning against foolish talking and jesting as destroying spiritual power. Overcoming these mental leaks lets you finally tackle the deeper desires holding you back.
So the summary is, self-purified, health will be yours, faith protected, success will be yours, self-governed, power will be yours.
And all that you do will prosper. It's about aligning with the great law, the only wealth, success, power that lasts. He ends a section with a poem. Cling to love, patience, integrity.
And you reach health, success, power. The law doesn't bend for you, you bend to the law.
Which brings us to the realization of selfless love, the highest state for Alan.
Like Michelangelo seeing the statue in the stone, he says the divine image, selfless love is already within you, waiting.
Waiting for faith and patience to reveal it.
And your struggles, failings, sorrows, they aren't just problems.
No, they're messengers. Voices showing your weaknesses, where to grow, what needs removing from your heart to get closer to that divine love.
Signs you're getting closer, becoming more patient, calm, petulance, temper, irritabilities fading.
Lusts, prejudices dissolving, that's the divine awakening. Nearing selfless love, which brings peace, immortality.
He makes a distinction between divine love and human love.
Right. Human loves often cling to specific people, things, so they involve suffering, loss, reaction.
Divine love embraces the whole universe without clinging to parts, yet contains the whole. Purifying human loves, burning out the selfish bits, leads towards the divine.
Divine love is permanent, doesn't cling to appearances, has no opposite reaction, blesses everyone. Human loves are reflections drawing us to the real thing.
Sorrow plays a role here too.
Yeah, the pain of loss reminds us sense joys are fleeting, draws us nearer the eternal. The glory of divine love is often seen most clearly in a heart softened by sorrow.
True divine love seeks no reward, makes no distinctions, leaves no heartaches.
People often think it's outside them, unreachable.
But Alan says it is beyond the reach of the self, because self is its opposite. But when the heart and mind are empty of self,
it becomes an inward reality. This selfless love is the love of Christ, he says. Saves from sin, lifts above temptation.
And the way there, radical simplicity.
Empty thyself, and I will fill thee. You can't know divine love until the self is dead. Self is the denial of love. The stone of self must be rolled away.
And this love isn't just a feeling, it's a state of knowledge.
Yes. Knowledge that destroys belief in evil, lifts you to good. Knowledge and love are one for the truly wise.
He sees the world's struggles as part of this movement towards realization, but we get caught up grasping at shadows.
Fleeting pleasures, interests, ignoring the substance. So suffering continues. Caught in selfish desires, we don't see truth. Feeding on error, self-delusion, we're shut out from love.
Which is why external reforms without interchange often fail.
Exactly. Trying to fix the world while doing evil inside, futile. Only reform that reforms the heart works. A true golden age requires us to stop selfishness and strife. Learn divine love within.
Purifying your own heart is the greatest contribution you can make.
And you can enter that golden age now, if you're willing, by rising above the selfish self, embracing gentle, forgiving love.
He who knows love at the core, realized its power.
Yeah.
Has no room for condemnation.
Right. Judging others means you're still centered in self. A heart centered in supreme love doesn't need to judge or classify. It knows the law, lives it, maintains calm sweetness towards all.
The path is unremitting self-discipline, victory over self. A pure heart sees God, experiences a new birth.
Train the mind, impartial, gentle heart, purity, compassion, tongue, silence from negativity, stainless speech.
And the power of living this way. You convince without arguing, teach without lecturing, attract the wise without ambition, touch hearts without striving. Love is all-conquering.
Its thoughts, deeds, words are eternal.
Like water patiently wearing away rock, love's patient softness conquers all.
The pain from chasing earthly pleasures is a signal, an inward revolt.
Reminding us they're unreal. Proof that only in the immortal, eternal infinite can lasting satisfaction be found.
Man must return to the source, the infinite. The goal is oneness, harmony with the law, wisdom, love, peace. Personality, selfishness are the opposite. Surrender the limited personality.
Becoming divine is a process. Self-denial, conquering lower inclinations, refusing slavery to pleasure, practicing virtue.
Growing in virtue until you embody humility, meekness, forgiveness, compassion, love.
Goodwill gives insight. Only one with goodwill toward all has divine insight. The truly good person is the truly wise.
Look for wisdom in gentleness, patience, lowliness. Avoid the impatient, angry, boastful, pleasure-clinging.
Entering the infinite requires abandoning the hold of self, world, personality. They're seen as illusions by the awakened consciousness.
One law, one unity, one truth, the infinite. Center your life in the law of love, rest, harmony, peace. Obey the holy calm within.
It's a vital experience from purification. Calm body, desires, emotions, intellect. Consciousness aligns with the infinite.
He talks about blessedness being higher than happiness.
Right. Loving self loses bliss. Love God, the eternal good, not just pleasure. That's the everlasting yea. Yield up self, personality, leave confusion, enter simple wisdom, rest in the infinite.
Accomplish without striving, problems melt. Yielded all, gained all.
Only content with annihilation or life are fit for the infinite. Trust the great law, undying bliss.
No regret, no remorse. Whatever happens is for good. Unaffected by world turmoil, radiates compassion. Sees the golden thread of light, of progress.
Patient, compassionate, silent, pure. Words lift others. Entered infinite by sacrifice. Solve the mystery. Concealment only lies in blinded eyes.
And God alone can see the form of God. Finding the way of love and peace removes the blindness.
Which leads to the ultimate realization. Perfect peace, the crown of being.
The measure of your grasp of truth is the measure of your love. How you live, act under trial, that's the real test.
Manifesting truth means being patient, calm, gentle, forgiving under all circumstances, not proven by argument.
But by infinite patience, undying forgiveness, all-embracing compassion, the truly wise remain meek and gentle in the toughest times. These are divine virtues.
The great law is love itself, foundation of everything. Names, religions past, love remains. Knowing, harmonizing with this law is mortality.
And the highest expression of this impersonal law, service.
The purified heart makes the final sacrifice, giving up the joy of just resting in truth.
To dwell among others as the servant of all. That sublime humility of the Saviors is the seal of Godhead. Annihilated personality, manifestation of impersonal love. Humbled self, exalted.
He challenges seeing saviors as unreachable miracles. That paralyzes effort. Figures like Jesus grew in wisdom, were perfected by suffering. It's a path.
Truth is simple. Give up self. Come unto me, I will give you rest. Simple for the heart-seeking righteousness. Not complex learning, but inward purity, building a stainless life.
He sees a progression. Worldling to saint, restraining passions. Saint to sage, conquering sin sorrow. Sage to savior, manifesting knowledge and selfless work, losing self in humanity.
Holiness is the badge of wisdom. He repeats those signs of the holy person.
True service. Forgetting self and love for all, losing self and working for the whole. Vain works perish. Humble duties, joyful sacrifice that endures.
The world's great lesson. Absolute unselfishness, taught everywhere, but too simple for our complex selfishness.
A pure heart is the end of religion, beginning of divinity. Searching for righteousness is the way of truth peace. Enter the way, perceive immortality. Serving mankind exchanges fame for eternal light, joy, peace.
Finding perfect peace means knowing the external world is turmoil, but the heart of things is undisturbed repose.
Peace is reaching and living consciously in perfect love, the kingdom of heaven. Hard to reach because few give up self, become like children. The gate is narrow, locked by pride, passion, greed, lust.
True peace is inward. Peace from external things is temporary. Heaven's peace endures, known by the selfless heart. Holiness, undying peace.
Fully realized when self disappears. To conquer love of self and lust of life, to tear deep-rooted passion from the heart, to still the inward strife. That's peace.
The only path. Conquer yourself. Bring every thought, impulse, desire obedient to the divine power within. No other way. Rituals, prayers are useless otherwise. Only to him that overcometh.
He urges you, withdraw inward, away from external noise, senses, intellect, world.
Into the inmost chamber of your heart. Free yourself from selfish desires there. Find deep silence, holy calm, blissful repose. Rest. Meditate there.
Then the faultless eye of truth opens. See things as they are. This holy place is your real, eternal, divine self.
Identify with it. Be clothed and in your right mind. It's your true home, abode of peace, temple of wisdom, immortality.
Apart from this inward rest, no true peace. If you can find it for a minute, you can learn to stay there always.
Sins, sorrows, fears, they're your own. You cling to them or give them up. You cling to unrest by choice. Come to peace by choice.
No one else walks the path for you. Freedom, peace come from your own efforts.
The angels of peace are always near. You shut yourself out by preferring the evil spirits within. You are what you will, wish, prefer to be.
Purify yourself for peace or refuse and suffer.
His final plea is powerful. Step aside from self. Come out of the fever, heat of self into the inward rest. Out of the storms into the haven. Give up self-seeking, surrender self.
And the peace of God is yours.
Subdue the animal within. Conquer selfish uprisings. Transmute base metals, selfishness, into gold, love.
Then you realize the life of perfect peace. Cross mortality's waters to the shore beyond sorrow, sin, suffering, uncertainty, standing there holy, compassionate, awake, self-possessed, glad you'll know.
Wow. Okay. That was quite a journey through James Allen's From Poverty to Power. It really does boil down to that pretty radical idea that our external world is just a direct result of our internal state.
And that suffering isn't just negative. It's this powerful, necessary teacher, really, designed to guide us past our own ignorance towards wisdom, towards growth.
Yeah, and we've seen how the path out of difficulty towards health, success, happiness, real peace, it isn't about fixing the outside world first.
No, it's about that challenging but ultimately really empowering inner work. Conquering the selfish self, cultivating those virtues, love, patience, purity, integrity from the inside out.
We talked about some key tools he points to, mastering that silent power of thought.
Finding peace in inner quiet, meditation, standing firm on principles, exercising self-control.
And learning to retreat to that quiet inmost chamber within yourself.
Yeah, the core message really resonates, doesn't it? True prosperity, lasting happiness, genuine power. They aren't things you get from outside.
They're internal states you realize by letting go of that small, grasping self and aligning with what Allen calls the great law of love.
It definitely offers a powerful shift in perspective. The answers are already right here, inside us, just waiting to be uncovered.
So drawing from this deep dive into the source material, here's maybe a thought for you, the listener, to carry away. Think about the challenges you're facing right now. What if they aren't just random obstacles? What if they're actually lessons, tailored specifically for you, being offered by life or the great law, as Allen might put it?
Offered to teach you something vital about yourself, guide you to a deeper strength, a deeper wisdom.
Exactly. What lesson might your current struggles be trying to teach you?
Thank you for joining us for this deep dive. We really hope these insights from James Allen offer a compelling, maybe challenging, but useful new way to look at the connection between your inner world and your outer life.